These Switch students, they said, count me in. This is a group of students from the Life Church Edmond location who saw a need. And they saw something that they could contribute to. That need is called Operation Christmas Child. One of our global mission partners here at Life Church is called Samaritan's Purse. And every year, Samaritan's Purse has Operation Christmas Child, which is this program, this initiative dedicated to help kids around the world get toys, essential supplies, and clothing for Christmas. And so these Switch students, they said, you know what? I think that we could be a part of this. This is a group of high schoolers. And so what they did is they planned a fundraiser, they organized it, they executed it all on their own to raise money to get the supplies needed to put together these different gift boxes that would go to these kids around the world so that they could have presents on Christmas when they wouldn't otherwise be able to. So these Switch students did this fundraiser, and together they raised over $4,000, right? That's a bunch of teenagers. That's people just like you who said, I want to make a difference. They raised $4,000, which allowed them to put together over 200 of these gift boxes. Here's what that means. That means that there are over 200 kids around the world who at Christmas had a present under their tree when they wouldn't have otherwise. Why? Because of students just like you choosing to make a difference, choosing to say, Jesus, I wanna make a difference, so count me in. Galatians chapter 5, verse 13, Paul writes this, he says that you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters. But don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love. For the whole law can be summed up in this one command: love your neighbor as yourself. These are Switch students who are using the freedom that they have from Jesus to serve others in love. They were invited to make a difference, and they said, count me in. You are being invited to make a difference. What will you say? You're being invited to be made whole. Jesus is inviting you to be made whole. What will you say? Sammy said, count me in. I got to meet Sammy several years ago. I was the youth pastor for her at the Life Church that we were a part of. And the heartbreaking thing about Sammy's story is that when Sammy was in the 5th grade, she came to a place where she was just so overwhelmed with the stress of life, with these different things that were going on, that she just didn't know what to do with, that she had all of these emotions, all of these frustrations, all of this anger that she didn't know how to process in a healthy way, which led her to the point of choosing to hurt herself because she felt like that was the only way that she could deal with these emotions. She quickly became addicted to cutting, to the point where over the course of the next year, she cut herself hundreds of times. To the point where if she was wearing short sleeves or shorts, you would see hundreds of scars on her arms and legs. She was in the 5th grade when she started. But Sammy came to a place where she knew that that wasn't who she was meant to be. And so thankfully, she asked for help. She told her mom what was going on, and I got to sit down with her and her mom and just have a conversation about everything that was going on. And in the course of that conversation, Sammy opened up about the fact that the longest she had ever gone since she started cutting without cutting herself was 10 days. 10 days. But I believe that God was in that conversation. Because at the end of that conversation, Sammy and her mom, they committed together to pray for each other, to encourage each other, to hold each other accountable, to remind each other of who God says they are. And in that conversation, Sammy said, you know what? I want to break that streak. I don't want it to be 10 days. I want it to be 20, and then 30, and then 40, and then 50, and then 60, and then 70, and then 80, and then 90, and then 100. And tonight, Sammy told me that she has gone 408 days without hurting herself. What I'm telling you is that Jesus is making her whole, and he wants to do the same for you. That somebody that was so overwhelmed with all the mess of life is being made whole. In the same way that Jesus is working in Sammy, he wants to work in you. I love what Paul writes in 2 Corinthians when he says this, chapter 3, verses 16 and 18. He says that whenever someone turns to the Lord, the veil is taken away. For the Lord is the Spirit, and wherever the Spirit of the Lord is, listen to this, there is freedom. And the Lord, who is the Spirit, he makes us more and more like him as we are changed into his glorious image. Whenever you turn to the Lord, who is the Spirit, will bring you freedom, and he will transform you more and more into his glorious image. That is exactly what's happening with Sammy. And as Sammy is being made whole, other people are getting to see the difference in her. She's now serving in our Life Kids ministry on the weekend, showing them that the same way that Jesus made her whole, that Jesus wants to love them, to be their friend, to show them that there is hope and that there is a better tomorrow in store for them if they keep moving forward. Jesus is inviting you to make a difference. Jesus is inviting you to be made whole. And Jesus is inviting you to be made new. What will you say? 6 years ago, I said, count me in.